Wealth does not begin in your bank account. Wealth does not begin in your business. Wealth does not even begin in the work of your hands. Wealth begins in faith. It is faith that sees the invisible, claims the impossible, and stands unshaken while the world doubts. Faith is the seed from which every fortune grows. Without it, no action bears fruit. With it, the smallest action becomes unstoppable. Look around you. Every invention, every great achievement, every empire of wealth first existed in someone's faith. They believed before it was seen. They trusted before it was proven. They prepared as though abundance was already theirs. The mistake so many make is chasing money while carrying doubt, but doubt is the thief of wealth. Fear closes the door, faith opens it. When you walk in faith, you command doors to open. You do not beg, you declare. You do not hope, you know. And here lies the greatest power, your words. Every word you speak is a decree. Speak lack, and lack will answer. Speak wealth with faith, and wealth will rush to obey. Say aloud, infinite supply flows to me. Wealth surrounds me. I live in divine abundance. When these words leave your lips clothed in faith, they become law. See yourself now as wealthy. Walk as though the blessing is already yours. Set your table for the feast before the food arrives. Dress for the opportunity before the invitation comes. Prepare your life for wealth, and wealth will find you ready. Be grateful now, not later. Gratitude is proof of faith. Gratitude declares, I trust that all I need is already on its way. And with that trust, the universe multiplies your blessings. Do not measure time. Wealth comes in divine timing, never a moment late. The faithful are patient, knowing delay is not denial. Every step you take in faith carries you closer to manifestation. Release every belief in scarcity. Scarcity is a lie. The supply of the universe is infinite. Faith makes you a channel for that supply. Wealth is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting to flow through you. And remember, faith is not an occasional act. It is a way of living, to rise in the morning with trust, to speak in the day with certainty, to rest at night in peace. That is wealth consciousness. And from that consciousness flows riches, opportunities, and miracles beyond your imagination. So stand firm in faith, declare your abundance, live as though it is already yours, for wealth does not begin in money, wealth begins in faith. Faith is the unseen power that anchors every form of wealth, the invisible foundation upon which abundance is built. Wealth does not simply arise from effort, strategy, or opportunity, though these play their part. The true beginning of wealth is not in the hands or in the marketplace, but in the heart and mind. It is faith that creates the mental atmosphere where prosperity can flourish, the spiritual soil in which the seed of abundance takes root. Without faith, even the best opportunities slip through the fingers, but with faith, even the smallest possibility can grow into riches beyond measure. When you understand that wealth begins in faith, you stop depending solely on what you can see and begin trusting in what you cannot yet see. The invisible is always the cause of the visible. Every financial breakthrough, every fortunate encounter, every door that opens, these are the fruits of an inner trust that refused to waver. Faith whispers to you that provision already exists, that the source of all wealth is limitless, that no circumstance is final until you decide it is. Faith is not passive, it is creative. It is the magnetic force that calls forth opportunity, ideas, people, and resources. Fear and doubt are the greatest obstacles to wealth. When you dwell in fear, you contract. You shrink back from action, you second. Guess your vision, you sabotage your own progress. Fear convinces you that resources are scarce, that chances are few, that you are not worthy of abundance. But faith dissolves those illusions. Faith reminds you that the universe is abundant, that the divine supply is infinite, that wealth flows endlessly to those who trust in it. Faith allows you to act boldly, to risk when others retreat, to keep sowing when others withhold. And it is this boldness, born of faith, that multiplies results. Every wealthy person, Every builder of fortunes has first been a builder of faith. Before money arrived, they believed it would. Before opportunities showed themselves, they prepared for them. They operated in faith long before the world gave them evidence. Faith is not waiting until conditions are perfect. It is moving forward while conditions still look uncertain, knowing that the unseen will shape the seen. A person of faith steps onto the path when it looks invisible, and somehow the ground rises to meet their feet. Faith also expresses itself in the words you speak. Words are powerful instruments of wealth because they reveal what you truly believe. To speak lack, to complain about scarcity, is to water the seeds of poverty. To speak in faith, to affirm abundance with conviction, is to summon wealth. When your words are aligned with faith, they become declarations that shape reality. Saying, "I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am aligned with infinite supply," is not empty affirmation when spoken with faith. It is the planting of divine law into the soil of the universe. Wealth responds to those who declare it with unwavering certainty. But faith is more than speaking, it is seeing. The imagination is the canvas of faith. To hold a vision of yourself already wealthy, to see in your mind's eye the life of abundance, creates a vibration that calls it into being. Many fail because they cannot picture themselves beyond their current reality. They are trapped in the picture of lack. Faith, however, paints a new picture. Faith allows you to see beyond the limits of today and hold the vision of tomorrow. And the universe, like a faithful servant, rushes to bring that vision into form. Acting as if is another expression of faith. When you prepare your life for wealth before it arrives, you demonstrate trust in the unseen. Setting the table before the feast, making space before the blessing, creating the conditions before the harvest. This is living proof of faith. It is not delusion, it is alignment. When you live as if you already possess wealth, you align your energy with abundance, and abundance flows into your life naturally. Those who wait to see before they believe are always late. Those who believe before they see are always first to receive. Gratitude is faith in motion. To give thanks before the manifestation is to proclaim, "I trust that it is already mine." Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is promised, and that focus multiplies blessings. A grateful heart is a magnet for wealth because gratitude carries the vibration of completion. It says, "It is done." And when you hold this energy, life mirrors it back to you with evidence of more to be thankful for. Gratitude is not an afterthought. It is the language of faith that accelerates abundance. Patience, too, is born of faith. Many abandon their path to wealth because the timing does not match their expectation. They allow delays to turn into doubts, but faith understands that divine timing is perfect. What is meant for you cannot be withheld. Patience is not passive waiting. It is confident expectation. It is holding the knowing that wealth is already on its way, even if it has not yet arrived. Faith says, "I will not panic. I will not chase. I will not beg. I trust the process." This calm certainty is itself a vibration that attracts wealth faster than anxious striving. The greatest transformation comes when you replace old beliefs of scarcity with new beliefs of abundance. Poverty is often a pattern of thought inherited from society, family, or past experiences. These beliefs whisper, "There isn't enough, you must struggle, you are unworthy." Faith uproots those lies. Faith replaces them with the truth, "There is more than enough, wealth flows easily, I am worthy of abundance." The moment your beliefs change, your reality begins to change. Wealth is never withheld from you, it is your beliefs that withhold it. Faith dissolves those walls and allows the flow of prosperity to enter. Faith as the foundation of wealth is not something you practice once and forget. It is a daily choice. It is a lens through which you see life, a posture you carry in every circumstance. When bills come, you choose faith over fear. When opportunities appear small, You trust they are stepping stones to more. When setbacks arrive, you know they are setups for abundance. Faith becomes the atmosphere you live in, and wealth cannot help but grow in that atmosphere. So wealth does not begin with money, it begins with faith. Faith is the substance, the energy, the blueprint. Money is the expression. Faith is the root, and money is the fruit. And when you cultivate faith daily, when you hold to it no matter the circumstance, you step into alignment with the infinite supply of the universe. From there, wealth flows not as a struggle, but as a natural result of your inner certainty. For the one who has faith, lack is impossible and abundance is inevitable. Wealth is not born in the physical world first. It originates in the unseen, in the spiritual realm of thought, belief, and consciousness. Everything you can touch, spend, or hold began first as an invisible idea, a vibration, a conviction. To understand wealth as a spiritual reality first is to understand that money, possessions, and opportunities are simply the shadows cast by something greater, your inner alignment with divine supply. The visible is always an outpicturing of the invisible. If you want to change the state of your finances, you must first change the state of your spirit, because the external cannot exceed what you hold in the internal. When a person is consumed by lack in their mind and heart, no amount of hard labor can truly free them. They may gather money for a while, but they will lose it through fear, poor decisions, or sabotage, because their spiritual foundation was rooted in scarcity. In the same way, a person who holds wealth consciousness in the spirit can attract resources, opportunities, and money with a natural ease, even when the world calls it impossible. The difference is not luck, it is the awareness that true wealth begins as spiritual substance, not as physical coin. Consider the farmer. Before he ever sees a harvest, he plants a seed. That seed is invisible beneath the soil, yet within it lies the potential for an entire field of abundance. He waters and tends the ground in faith, knowing that the unseen work of growth is happening long before the fruit appears. In the same way, wealth is first planted in the soil of spirit. Beliefs, affirmations, and visions are the seeds. Faith is the water, patience is the sunlight, and in time, the invisible harvest becomes visible. To demand money before planting spiritual seed is like asking for a harvest without planting anything. It is to violate divine law. Every invention, every empire, every fortune began as a thought. The telephone, the airplane, the skyscraper, the internet, all were once invisible pictures held in the spirit of someone who believed. Wealth is no different. It is first an inner image, a conviction so strong that reality bends to make it true. Those who live in wealth consciousness see opportunities where others see nothing. They expect doors to open, and so they do. They move as though the provision is already waiting, and it rushes to meet them. Their wealth was real long before it showed up in the physical realm. The tragedy is that many people try to fix the visible without ever touching the invisible. They scramble to earn more, cut expenses, or chase opportunities, all while holding inner beliefs of limitation. They say, money is hard to come by, opportunities are rare, I am unlucky, I never have enough. These inner decrees become their spiritual reality, and the outer world reflects them faithfully. But when a person changes the inner decree, when they declare, I live in a universe of infinite supply, wealth flows to me freely, I am in alignment with abundance, the outer world has no choice but to shift. Spirit commands matter, never the other way around. To hold wealth as a spiritual reality first is to stop chasing money with desperation and instead cultivate abundance within. It is to know that you are already wealthy because wealth is not something you get, it is something you allow. The universe is a field of infinite energy, overflowing with ideas, resources, and possibilities. To those who align with this truth, wealth flows like a river. To those who deny it, the river remains invisible, though it was always there. Faith plays the central role in this understanding. The Spirit holds wealth first through faith, the assurance that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. Faith says, though I do not see money in my hand today, I know it exists in the infinite. It is already mine in the spiritual realm, and I simply await its appearance in the material world. This conviction is not wishful thinking, it is alignment with divine law. Just as the farmer knows the seed will grow because that is the law of nature, so the person of faith knows wealth will manifest because that is the law of spirit. Imagination is the canvas upon which spiritual wealth is painted. Before wealth comes into your hand, you must see it in your mind's eye. Visualize yourself living in abundance, free of fear, generous, expansive, joyful. This inner vision creates a vibration that calls matching circumstances into your life. Many remain trapped in cycles of poverty because they cannot imagine themselves beyond their current condition. They see only bills, debts, and struggle, and so they continue to multiply those images. To shift into wealth consciousness, you must hold a higher image. You must dare to see yourself already rich in spirit, and that image will magnetize material form. Gratitude is another expression of treating wealth as a spiritual reality first. Gratitude declares, even before I see the evidence, I trust it is already mine. To be grateful for money before it arrives is to acknowledge its spiritual reality. Gratitude vibrates at the frequency of completion, as though the manifestation is already here. This frequency draws the unseen into the seen. A grateful person lives in a constant state of wealth, regardless of their current bank balance, and that inner wealth inevitably attracts outer wealth. Patience flows naturally when you know wealth is first spiritual. You no longer panic when delays come, because you understand the manifestation is unfolding in divine timing. Just as a seed does not sprout in a day, wealth requires gestation. The impatient uproot their seeds before they grow. The faithful trust the process. Spiritual wealth requires calm certainty that what is yours is already yours and cannot be withheld. This confidence prevents desperation, which is the vibration of lack, and keeps you in the flow of abundance. Scarcity is always a belief first, just as abundance is always a belief first. The outer evidence is only a reflection of the inner conviction. This is why people who win sudden money, like lottery winners, often lose it quickly if they have not cultivated wealth in spirit. Their outer reality temporarily changed, but their inner reality of lack remained. Until the inner belief is transformed, the outer cannot remain. This is why your work must always begin within, releasing every thought of limitation and replacing it with thoughts of infinite supply. When you begin to live as though wealth is first spiritual, your actions shift dramatically. You stop moving from fear, and you begin moving from certainty. You stop reacting to circumstances, and you begin creating from faith. You stop clinging to money in desperation, and you start circulating it freely, knowing that more always flows. You stop measuring yourself by what is in your wallet and start measuring yourself by what is in your spirit. And as this shift happens, the outer world bends to reflect it. Clients appear, opportunities expand, money flows, and doors open, because you are living from the root of truth. Wealth is spiritual first. Every day becomes an opportunity to align with this reality. Every word you speak, every thought you hold, every image you visualize is a seed. Are you planting seeds of scarcity or seeds of abundance? Are you affirming limitation or affirming infinite supply? The harvest will reveal what you believe. Choose to believe in abundance. Choose to speak wealth. Choose to see yourself rich in spirit. For the truth is eternal. Wealth is spiritual reality first, and when you embrace that, the material world cannot help but bow to it. Fear is the greatest thief of wealth, the silent destroyer of abundance. the invisible wall that keeps opportunities at a distance. It does not matter how gifted you are, how many chances you have, or how much knowledge you hold. If fear governs your heart, you will always find yourself blocked, trapped in cycles of limitation and lack. Fear is a magnet for loss. It whispers of failure before you have even tried. It convinces you to retreat when the door is about to open, and it blinds you to the opportunities standing directly in front of you. Where fear reigns, the flow of wealth cannot move freely, for fear contracts, restricts, and shuts down the channels of abundance. Faith, on the other hand, unlocks everything that fear shuts. Faith is the key that opens the treasure chest, the energy that clears blockages, the power that calls wealth into form. Faith expands. It loosens the grip of limitation, lifts your eyes from problems to possibilities, and creates the boldness to act when others hesitate. Where fear locks the door and throws away the key, faith knocks once and walks straight through. Fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. One creates paralysis, the other creates momentum. One shrinks, the other enlarges. One kills the seed, the other multiplies the harvest. Many people live their entire lives guided by fear without ever realizing it. They say they want wealth, but fear keeps them from claiming it. They fear failure, so they never take risks. They fear rejection, so they never ask. They fear responsibility, so they never rise. They fear loss, so they clutch tightly to the little they have, shutting themselves off from more. In this way, fear convinces them to live small lives when divine law had already destined them for abundance. And fear does not shout loudly, it often whispers in subtle thoughts. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? What if I lose everything? These whispers, if believed, become walls. Faith silences those whispers. Faith declares, even if I cannot see the way exists. Even if I do not know how, the answer will appear. Even if circumstances look against me, I trust the divine law is for me. Faith does not demand proof before action. It moves first and trusts that provision will meet it. Faith is not naive, it is bold. It understands that the universe operates on certainty, and when you carry certainty, doors must open. Fear blocks by demanding guarantees before you step. Faith unlocks by stepping and letting the guarantee reveal itself. Consider how fear shapes language. The fearful person says, I can't, I won't, it's impossible. Their words become self-full, filling prophecies, chaining them to lack. But the faithful person says, I can, I will, all things are possible. Words clothed in faith carry creative power. They unlock wealth by speaking it into existence. The fearful complain of scarcity, and scarcity multiplies. The faithful declare abundance, and abundance answers. The difference between a closed life and an open one is often just the words spoken with conviction. Fear also breeds hesitation. Opportunities appear, but fear says, wait until you're ready, wait until conditions are perfect. Yet conditions never appear perfect, and so the person waits forever, missing every chance. Faith does the opposite. Faith acts. Faith moves forward even when the path is unclear, because it knows clarity comes in motion, not in waiting. Wealth flows to those who act with conviction. The hesitant lose, but the bold inherit. Faith unlocks by creating momentum, and in momentum, resources, helpers, and opportunities are drawn as if by magnetism. At its core, fear is faith inverted. Fear is simply belief in the wrong outcome. It is faith in failure, faith in loss, faith in scarcity. The energy is the same, but it is directed against you instead of for you. This is why fear feels so powerful. It is misused creative energy. When you redirect that same energy into faith, you unlock what was previously bound. Instead of saying, what if I lose? You say, what if I win? Instead of imagining the worst case scenario, you imagine the best case scenario. Both are acts of imagination, but one blocks and the other unlocks. Wealth is not drawn to fear because fear vibrates at lack. Wealth is drawn to faith because faith vibrates at abundance. Imagine two people standing before the same opportunity. One is consumed with fear. He sees risk, loss, and failure, so he does not act. The other is filled with faith. She sees possibility, growth, and gain, so she takes the chance. The same door, the same conditions, yet one remains poor and the other prospers. The only difference is what they believed. Faith unlocked what fear had blocked. Fear also makes people cling. When they receive a little money, they grip it tightly, refusing to release it, afraid there won't be more. But this clinging energy creates stagnation, and stagnation leads to lack. Faith, however, understands circulation. It gives freely, invests wisely, shares generously, and knows more will always flow back. Fear blocks by hoarding. Faith unlocks by circulating. Money is energy, and energy must move. The one who holds it in fear dams the flow. The one who trusts in faith becomes a channel through which wealth constantly pours. Patience is another form of faith that fear cannot comprehend. Fear panics when wealth does not appear immediately. Fear says it isn't working, I must give up. But faith knows that every seed requires time, that every manifestation unfolds in its appointed season. Faith waits not in despair but in confidence, knowing that delay is not denial. This patience unlocks wealth by keeping you steady, preventing the self-sabotage that fear always produces. The impatient uproot their harvest before it matures. The faithful wait and reap the fullness. Fear thrives on appearances. It looks at current circumstances and declares them permanent. It sees an empty bank account and says, "You are poor." It sees rejection and says, "You will never succeed." It sees difficulty and says, "You will fail." But faith looks at the same circumstances and sees beyond them. Faith says, "This is temporary. Wealth is already on its way. I live in divine abundance, regardless of appearances." And because faith sees differently, it creates differently. Fear is bound to the present. Faith reaches into the future and pulls it into now. The battle between fear and faith is not outside of you, it is within you. Each thought is a choice. Each reaction is a choice. Each belief is a choice. At every moment, you are either blocking or unlocking, contracting or expanding, doubting or trusting. Wealth is not withheld from you by the universe, it is withheld by your fear. The moment you release fear and embrace faith, the blockage dissolves and wealth flows as naturally as water downhill. You do not need to conquer every external obstacle. You need only conquer fear within. You do not need to control every condition. You need only hold faith through them. The wealth you seek already exists, but fear is the wall between you and it. Faith is the key that brings the wall crashing down. When you choose faith, you step into the flow of divine supply, where wealth, opportunity, and abundance are endless. Fear blocks, but faith unlocks. And once faith has unlocked the door, no force on earth can close it again. Words are not empty sounds. They are living forces, carriers of vibration, seeds planted into the soil of the universe that must return as harvest. The spoken word is the instrument by which wealth is created, maintained, or destroyed. Every word you speak is either a decree of abundance or a decree of lack, a command for doors to open or a command for doors to close. Many do not realize that their tongue is the steering wheel of their destiny. They cry out for wealth while their lips constantly declare poverty, and the universe, impartial and obedient, delivers exactly what they decree. The power of the spoken word lies in the fact that sound is vibration, and vibration organizes matter. When you speak words of wealth with conviction, you send out vibrations that call to themselves matching conditions, people, and opportunities. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am in the flow of infinite supply. These words are not mere affirmations when spoken with faith. They are creative forces that summon reality into form. The unseen world hears and obeys. In the same way, words of lack, "I can't afford this," "money never comes to me," "life is hard," become commands that the invisible realm fulfills with precision. Your life is always echoing back to you the words you consistently speak. Children absorb this truth unconsciously. A child raised hearing words of possibility, encouragement, and abundance grows with a consciousness that anything is achievable. Another child raised in words of fear, limitation, and scarcity grows with the belief that life is struggle and wealth is for others, not for them. Neither child chose their early conditions, yet both live under the decree of words spoken over them. As adults, we have the power to rewrite those decrees, to break the chains of words once spoken, and create a new reality by speaking new words. This is why awareness of language is vital. What you speak today is the seed of tomorrow's reality. The spoken word is also a declaration of faith. To say, "Wealth flows to me with ease," when your pockets are empty is not delusion. It is spiritual alignment. You are declaring what is true in the invisible, and by your words you prepare the way for the visible. Too many wait to speak wealth until they see wealth, but the law is the opposite. You speak first, then you see. Words are the blueprint, the instructions sent into the unseen. To refuse to speak until conditions change is to delay the manifestation indefinitely. Faith speaks even against appearances, and appearances eventually yield. Your words not only shape your external reality, they also shape your inner state. When you speak words of confidence and prosperity, your own mind believes them. Your body responds, your emotions shift, and your actions align with those words. In this way, the spoken word creates momentum. A person who says daily, "I am surrounded by opportunity," "I am worthy of wealth," "I attract abundance wherever I go," begins to live in a vibration of expectancy. That expectancy changes their posture, their decisions, their energy, and therefore their results. On the other hand, someone who constantly mutters, "Nothing ever works out," "Money is always tight," "Life is against me," sabotages their own success. Their mind believes the decree, their body reacts with tension, their actions shrink, and their life mirrors back the lack they spoke. Consider how many people curse their own wealth unconsciously. They say, "That costs too much," "I'll never afford it," "I'm always broke." Each statement is a binding spell, locking them deeper into the reality they despise. If they only knew the creative power of their words, they would never speak carelessly again. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," they would say, "It is not in my budget today, but infinite supply provides for me in perfect ways." Instead of saying, "I'm always broke," they would declare, "I am learning to steward abundance and more is on its way." The words may feel small, but they shift the vibration, and that shift changes everything. The universe does not respond to idle wishes. It responds to authoritative words. Words spoken with doubt are weak, but words spoken with faith are law. This is why affirmations only work when infused with belief. Simply repeating phrases without conviction does little, but when your spirit and voice are aligned, your words release creative fire. Think of the ancient truth, "Let there be light." With a spoken decree, creation itself unfolded. If divine speech could summon galaxies, then surely your words can summon wealth, opportunity, and prosperity into your own life. The spoken word also operates through repetition. What you say most often becomes your default vibration. Just as a hammer strikes a nail until it sinks deep, repeated words sink into your subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind creates your automatic reality. To speak wealth once and then cancel it with daily complaints is to plant a seed and immediately uproot it. But to speak wealth daily, consistently, faithfully, is to water that seed until it grows into visible form. Discipline in speech is as vital as discipline in action. Your words also carry influence over others. When you speak abundance, you inspire, uplift, and open channels of wealth not only for yourself, but for those around you. When you speak words of generosity, encouragement, and possibility, you create an atmosphere where others thrive, and in that thriving, wealth circulates back to you. Conversely, when you spread words of fear, negativity, and complaint, you poison the atmosphere, driving away opportunities and helpers. Every conversation is either planting seeds of wealth or seeds of lack, and both will eventually bear fruit. To harness the power of the spoken word for wealth, you must become deliberate. Guard your tongue as you would guard treasure, for it is treasure. Before you speak, ask, does this word affirm lack or affirm abundance? Does it align with fear or with faith? Every I am statement you utter is a prophecy. I am struggling guarantees struggle. I am blessed guarantees blessing. The universe takes you at your word, for your word reveals what you believe. To master your speech is to master your wealth. It is not enough to think abundance. You must give it voice. Thoughts are private, but words are public declarations, carrying weight in the spiritual and material realms. Words anchor thoughts into reality. They are the bridge between the invisible and the visible. To remain silent in your wealth consciousness is to keep your seed in the bag. To speak it is to plant it in the ground. And only planted seeds grow. Speak, therefore, boldly. Declare your abundance aloud every day until it becomes the only language you know. When you understand this, complaining becomes unthinkable. Speaking lack becomes impossible. Casual words of limitation lose their appeal. Instead, you rise each morning with declarations of wealth. You speak them while working, while walking, while facing challenges. You make your life an unbroken stream of affirmations, not forced but flowing, because you know every word is shaping reality. In time, the outer world catches up to the inner decree, and what you have spoken becomes what you live. The spoken word is power, and wealth responds to power. Use your words to command, to bless, to affirm, to create. Speak only what you want to see, and never give your tongue to what you fear. For the truth is simple. Your world is always following your word. If you want a wealthier life, begin today by speaking a wealthier language, and watch as your reality unlocks in perfect alignment with the decrees of your mouth. Visualization is not mere daydreaming. It is the deliberate act of creating the unseen so that it may be seen. It is the art of impressing upon the mind a picture so vivid, so filled with conviction, that reality has no choice but to conform. Yet, visualization without faith is only fantasy, an idle play of imagination that produces little change. Visualization with faith, however, becomes a spiritual command. It is the alignment of inner vision with unwavering belief, and when the two are joined, wealth, opportunity, and success are magnetized into your life. The mind is the workshop of creation, and every great invention, every fortune, every achievement began first as an image within. The architect sees the building before the ground is broken. The artist sees the painting before the canvas is touched. The entrepreneur sees the business thriving before the doors are opened. What is true in these examples is true for wealth. To build prosperity, you must first see yourself prosperous. You must hold the image of wealth, health, abundance, and success so clearly that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. But visualization alone can falter. Many visualize riches and success while secretly doubting it will ever happen. Their mental images are coated with disbelief, and disbelief corrodes creation. Faith must be the fire behind the vision. Faith says, "This image I hold is already mine in the unseen. I am not waiting for it, I am aligning with it. It is a fact in spirit, and soon it will be a fact in matter." That conviction transforms visualization into a decree. The picture ceases to be wishful thinking and becomes an expectation. An expectation is the magnet of manifestation. When you visualize with faith, you do not see wealth as distant, but as present. You do not imagine yourself someday rich. You see yourself already living in abundance. You walk into the picture in your mind, breathe its air, feel its sensations. You train your nervous system to experience what has not yet arrived in the physical. The subconscious mind, unable to tell the difference between imagined reality and physical reality, begins to believe the vision as true. Once it believes, it reorganizes your thoughts, habits, and actions to align with that truth. It nudges you toward opportunities, ideas, and relationships that match the image. This is not magic, it is divine law at work. Faith strengthens visualization because faith removes resistance. Without faith, the image is constantly attacked by fear, doubt, and contradiction. One moment you see yourself wealthy, the next moment you hear the whisper of lack. It's impossible. It's too late. Who are you to deserve this? These thoughts unravel the image, leaving it powerless. With faith, however, the image is shielded. Doubt may knock, but faith refuses to open the door. The vision remains intact, glowing brightly, until conditions bend to its power. Consider the difference between imagining wealth with fear and imagining wealth with faith. When fear is present, you see yourself wealthy, but the picture feels far away. You sense a wall between you and it. The feeling is strain, longing, and frustration. The vision drains you because you are aware of the gap. But when faith is present, you see yourself wealthy and feel no distance. You feel ownership, alignment, ease. The vision energizes you because you know it is already true in spirit, and spirit always precedes matter. Visualization with faith is not confined to moments of meditation. It becomes a way of life. Each day, you carry the inner picture of wealth. You see abundance in small things and magnify it. You imagine yourself succeeding as you step into daily tasks. You envision money flowing to you as naturally as air flows into your lungs. You create a mental movie so consistent that it plays even when you are not conscious of it. That movie is the script your reality follows, and faith is the director ensuring the movie comes to life. The greatest barrier for most people is that they visualize based on what they see, not on what they believe. They look at their empty bank account, and instead of visualizing abundance, they reinforce the picture of lack. They feed their imagination with bills, debts, and limitations. But faith dares to hold a different picture even when circumstances scream otherwise. Faith says, though I see emptiness, I visualize fullness. Though I see lack, I see abundance within. Though conditions say no, my inner vision says yes. That inner defiance is the seed of transformation. Wealth responds to those who can see it before they touch it. It responds to those who act from the picture of abundance rather than from the fear of scarcity. When you visualize yourself wealthy with faith, your actions change. You walk with confidence. You make decisions from possibility instead of limitation. You attract others who feel the certainty in your energy. You create momentum because you no longer act as someone hoping to become wealthy. You act as someone who already is. Visualization with faith also carries gratitude. You do not merely see the wealth. You thank it for existing already. You praise it as though it is yours, because in truth, in the unseen, it is. Gratitude seals the vision. It signals to the universe that you are ready, aligned, and receptive. Gratitude transforms waiting into receiving, and receiving accelerates manifestation. Those who doubt this law often ask, how can imagination bring me wealth? But they forget that every structure, every empire, every system began in the imagination of someone who believed. Nothing exists in the visible world that was not first conceived in the invisible. To dismiss visualization with faith is to dismiss the very process by which all creation unfolds. You are already using it, consciously or unconsciously. If you constantly imagine struggle, failure, and scarcity with conviction, you create more of it. If you shift your images to wealth, success, and prosperity with faith, you create more of that. The law is impartial. It mirrors what you hold within. The practice is simple, but it requires persistence. Each morning and evening, close your eyes and step into the picture of your wealthiest life. See it, feel it, embody it. Let faith infuse every detail. Refuse to dismiss the vision, no matter how long it takes to materialize. Speak it aloud, affirm it daily, live as though it were already yours. Do this until the vision becomes so natural that it feels like memory instead of imagination. That is when manifestation quickens, because your mind accepts it as reality, and the outer world must conform. Visualization with faith is not fantasy, it is prophecy. It is the declaration of what must be, spoken in the silent language of images, backed by the fire of belief. When you master it, you no longer chase wealth, you magnetize it. You no longer beg for opportunity, you create it. You no longer see life as random, you see it as responsive to the vision you carry. And when your vision is filled with wealth, unwavering, unshakable, sealed with faith, then wealth by law must appear. Acting as if is one of the most powerful spiritual disciplines for manifesting wealth, because it unites belief with behavior. When you act as if something is already yours, you send a signal to the universe that you are aligned with that reality. You are no longer hoping, wishing, or waiting. You are embodying, and what you embody, you attract. To act as if is to step into the shoes of your wealthiest self and begin living with the energy, the mindset, and the certainty of abundance before it visibly arrives. This principle is not about pretending or lying. It is about shifting your vibration to match the wealth you desire so that wealth is drawn to you naturally. Most people live as if they are broke, limited, or powerless, and so life reflects that posture. They say they want wealth, but their habits, their choices, their energy, and even their body language speak of lack. They hesitate, they shrink, they complain. They wait until money shows up before they allow themselves to feel secure, generous, or expansive. But the law works in reverse. Security, generosity, and expansion must be lived first, and then money follows. You cannot wait for wealth to prove itself before you step into it. You must step into it now, as if it is already here, and the evidence will come. Acting as if is the behavior of faith in action. Faith without works is incomplete, and acting as if is the work of faith. It is saying, because I believe wealth is mine in the unseen, I will live today as though it is already manifest. This doesn't mean recklessly spending beyond your means or faking a lifestyle. It means embodying the qualities of someone wealthy: confidence, decisiveness, gratitude, generosity, order, and joy. It means you treat money with respect, you expect opportunities, you speak boldly, and you carry yourself with assurance. It means you make decisions based not on fear of lack, but on the belief that you are supported by an infinite source. Think of how different your life feels when you act as if your success is inevitable. Instead of walking into a room timid and uncertain, you walk in with presence, knowing you belong. Instead of hoarding every penny with anxiety, you give freely, trusting in circulation. Instead of saying, I hope something good happens, you declare, I expect good to unfold today. That energy shift is magnetic. People respond to it. Opportunities seek it. Doors open to it. Wealth flows toward it. Acting as if is not a game of appearances. It is an energetic alignment that rewrites your reality. Children are masters of this principle. They play house or doctor or superhero with such conviction that for them it is real. They inhabit the role fully without questioning if it's possible or logical. That is the power of acting as if, stepping so deeply into the state you desire that your subconscious accepts it as reality. The subconscious then reprograms your actions and expectations to match the role you are playing, and soon enough, life complies. Adults often lose this ability because they overthink and demand proof before belief. But to reclaim the childlike ability to act as if is to unlock the creative power of faith. When you act as if you are wealthy, you also elevate your standards. You dress with care, you walk with purpose, you choose environments that reflect abundance. You no longer tolerate disorder, scarcity, or fear-driven choices. You handle money, no matter how much or little you currently have, as though you are stewarding great wealth. You practice gratitude for the smallest blessings as if they are signs of infinite supply. These actions, though small, shift your entire vibration. They tell the universe, I am already wealthy and I am ready for more. Acting as if also demands speech that matches wealth. You no longer say, I can't afford this, but rather, that is not my choice today. You no longer say, I'm always broke, but rather, I am learning to manage wealth wisely, and more is on its way. You speak from the authority of abundance, not the desperation of lack. Your words become decrees, and your decrees shape reality. To act as if is to let no word escape your lips that contradicts the wealth you claim. This principle transforms fear into courage. Many wait to feel confident before they act, but confidence grows by acting as if you already have it. Many wait to feel abundant before they give, but abundance grows by acting as if you already are. Many wait to feel successful before they take bold steps, but success grows by acting as if you have already succeeded. Every feeling you desire is birthed by action, not by waiting. When you live as if the wealth you seek is already within you, those feelings blossom naturally, and with them, results. There is also a divine mystery in this practice. Life mirrors back to you what you present to it. If you walk as if you are wealthy, life treats you as such. If you shrink as though you are powerless, life agrees. To act as if is to train life to see you differently, because you first see yourself differently. Your identity shifts, and with it, your circumstances must shift. Wealth is never only about numbers in a bank account. It is about identity, posture, and consciousness. Acting as if changes who you are, and who you are determines what you attract. Consider someone who constantly says, I'll give when I have more. They wait, but more never comes because they are acting as if they are always lacking. Contrast this with the person who gives generously, even from a little, because they act as if they already have plenty. That person sets a spiritual law in motion. They circulate wealth, and wealth circulates back to them. The act becomes prophecy. Life expands for the one who acts as if expansion is already their truth. It is important to remember that acting as if is not performance for others. It is transformation of self. It is not about showing off wealth you do not yet have, but about embodying the mindset, energy, and behaviors of someone who lives in abundance. The universe does not respond to masks. It responds to vibration. If you put on an outer show of wealth while inwardly feeling poor, you will only attract more lack. But if you inwardly align with wealth and let that alignment show in authentic action, you open channels for prosperity to pour in. Acting as if must be consistent. One day of living as though you are wealthy cannot overcome a lifetime of living as though you are poor, but repeated practice reshapes your entire being. Each day you walk, speak, and choose as your wealthiest self, you deepen the pattern until it becomes natural. At that point, you no longer act as if, you simply are. The shift from pretending to being happens seamlessly, and wealth in the outer world catches up to the wealth already established in the inner world. This principle also guards against despair. When conditions appear dark, acting as if keeps your spirit lifted. You may not yet see wealth in the physical, but by acting as if, you live in the reality of abundance anyway. That state of joy, expectancy, and strength protects you from the heavy pull of fear and hopelessness. It keeps your vibration high and your vision clear. In time, outer reality bends to match the inner light you have refused to surrender. To act as if is to declare, I am no longer waiting. I am living in the wealth that is already mine in spirit. It is the bridge between belief and manifestation, the practice that brings the unseen into the seen. Those who master this principle no longer chase wealth, they embody it. They no longer doubt if abundance will come. They know it has already arrived within, and soon the world will agree. To live this way is to live as a creator, not a beggar. It is to live with authority, not desperation. And it is to discover that acting as if is not an act at all, but the most honest expression of who you already are, abundant, powerful, and wealthy beyond measure. Gratitude is more than polite words or a fleeting feeling when something good happens. Gratitude is faith in action. It is the visible expression of an inner knowing that what you desire is already yours, even before it shows up in form. When you give thanks for wealth you do not yet see, you are declaring that you believe in the unseen abundance flowing toward you. Gratitude becomes the language of trust, the proof that you are anchored in faith rather than fear. It is not simply a reaction to blessings received. It is a spiritual practice that magnetizes greater blessings by showing the universe you are ready to receive. Most people wait until the money comes before they give thanks, but that is not faith. That is mere acknowledgement. Gratitude as faith in action, thanks in advance. It walks through life saying, I am grateful for the wealth that is unfolding, for the opportunities that are aligning, for the abundance that is already mine in spirit. This kind of gratitude is powerful because it signals absolute certainty. It says to the universe, I do not need physical proof to believe. My thanks is the evidence of my faith. When you thank before receiving, you declare your confidence in divine supply, and that confidence draws supply faster than worry or desperation ever could. Gratitude also shifts your vibration instantly. Fear contracts your energy, while gratitude expands it. Scarcity breeds tension, while gratitude brings peace. When you feel grateful, you are aligning yourself with abundance, no matter what your outer conditions look like. That alignment makes you magnetic. People want to work with you, opportunities flow more easily, and money circulates toward you because your energy is open and receptive. Gratitude is not passive. It is a creative force. It changes your emotional state, and your emotional state shapes your actions, decisions, and outcomes. Think of a person who constantly complains. Their words push away blessings because they affirm lack. They blind themselves to opportunities because they are too focused on what is missing. Now picture someone who, even in small beginnings, speaks thanks for every little provision. That person opens their eyes to possibilities others overlook. They notice doors cracked open that others walk past. Their energy attracts helpers, resources, and ideas because gratitude makes them glow with expectancy. In this way, gratitude is not just spiritual, it is practical. It shapes your perception, so you see the abundance already around you, and what you see, you multiply. Gratitude as faith in action also builds resilience. When challenges come, instead of sinking into despair, you can say, I am grateful for the lesson, for the growth, for the hidden good that is unfolding. That perspective keeps you strong, centered, and creative. Gratitude does not deny difficulty, it transforms it. By finding something to thank for in every situation, you transmute setbacks into stepping stones. This resilience keeps your vibration aligned with abundance, and life rewards that alignment with breakthroughs and blessings you could never have planned. There is a divine mystery here. When you give thanks for what you desire as though it is already yours, you speed its arrival. Gratitude is the proof of possession in the spirit. If you believe that wealth is yours, you naturally thank for it. That thanks seals the faith. The universe recognizes gratitude as confirmation that you are certain, and certainty draws form into being. Doubt delays, but gratitude accelerates. Each thank you, spoken in faith, is like watering the seed of your desire, nurturing it until it breaks through the soil of the unseen into visible reality. This is why gratitude is essential to wealth consciousness. Wealth is not created by striving, hoarding, or worrying. It is created by alignment with abundance. Gratitude aligns you instantly. It says, I already have all I need, and more is coming. That posture makes you generous, calm, and confident, which are the very traits that attract more wealth. Fear makes you clutch tightly, but gratitude makes you circulate freely. The more you circulate, the more flows back to you, for circulation is the law of life. Gratitude also dissolves envy and comparison. When you are thankful for what you have and what is coming, you are not threatened by the success of others. Instead, you celebrate it, knowing it is proof of what is possible for you. This open-hearted gratitude keeps you in harmony with the flow of abundance, while envy shuts you off from it. By giving thanks for others' prosperity, you align yourself with prosperity as a universal reality rather than a scarce resource. Every day, you have the opportunity to practice gratitude as faith in action. Begin your mornings by giving thanks not only for what you see, but also for what you are calling forth. Thank the universe for the wealth flowing to you, for the opportunities aligning, for the health, relationships, and success already unfolding. End your evenings the same way. Speak your gratitude aloud with conviction and let your heart feel it fully. This practice strengthens your faith like exercise strengthens a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes to live in gratitude naturally, regardless of appearances. Gratitude is also expressed through action. To say thank you with words is powerful, but to live thankfully is even greater. You live thankfully by caring for what you already have, no matter how small. You live thankfully by giving freely, knowing more will return. You live thankfully by treating every opportunity, every connection, every resource with respect and joy. When you steward the small things with gratitude, you prove you are ready for greater things. Gratitude is the signal to the universe that you can be trusted with more. At its core, gratitude as faith in action is a declaration of certainty. It says, I know I am wealthy. I know I am provided for. I know I am supported by infinite supply. Even when the bank account is low, you give thanks. Even when the opportunity has not yet appeared, you give thanks. Even when circumstances seem contrary, you give thanks. That unwavering gratitude is unshakable faith in motion. And by the law of spirit, that faith must be rewarded. Gratitude is the music of abundance. It is the song that signals you are already living in wealth, and wealth dances to that tune. The more you sing it, the more abundance gathers around you. Gratitude is not the result of prosperity, it is the cause. It is not the end of the journey, it is the key that unlocks the journey itself. To live in gratitude is to live in faith, and to live in faith is to walk in wealth. Divine timing and patience are two of the greatest allies in the journey to wealth, though they are often misunderstood. Human beings live in a world that prizes speed, urgency, and instant results. People want wealth now, success now, answers now. Yet the universe operates according to divine order, not human impatience. There is a rhythm, a season, a perfect unfolding for everything you desire, and when you align with that timing, your manifestation comes with ease and permanence. To force what is not yet ready is to uproot the seed before it blooms. To wait with faith and patience is to trust that the unseen work is being done, and in its perfect moment, what you seek will appear. Every seed teaches this lesson. You plant it in the soil, water it, tend to it, and then wait. No amount of pulling, prodding, or demanding will make it sprout faster than its design. The growth is invisible before it becomes visible, but the patient gardener trusts the process. So it is with wealth. You may have planted seeds of faith, visualization, gratitude, and action, but the harvest requires divine timing. The soil of the universe is never barren. It is alive, nurturing, and perfecting what you have sown. Impatience, however, digs up the seed to check if anything is happening, disrupting the process and delaying the result. Patience, in contrast, allows the process to unfold without interference. Divine timing is not delay, it is alignment. Sometimes what you ask for is ready, but you are not. Perhaps your character, discipline, or mind set must be strengthened before you can hold the wealth you desire. Other times, you are ready, but the conditions around you must shift. The right people must move into place. The right opportunities must mature. The right doors must open. Divine timing is the orchestration of countless unseen details aligning so that when your wealth arrives, it arrives in fullness, not fragments. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active faith. It is continuing to speak abundance, visualize success, act as if, and live in gratitude even when nothing appears to be changing. It is holding the vibration of wealth consistently, without collapsing into fear or doubt when appearances lag behind your faith. Patience says, though I do not yet see it, I know it is already mine. The timing is perfect, and I am content to wait for the highest and best expression of my desire. This posture not only preserves your energy, but also ensures that when the blessing comes, you are fully prepared to receive it. Impatience often stems from fear, the fear that maybe it won't happen, maybe the universe has forgotten you, maybe you don't deserve it. That fear leads to desperation, frantic actions, and self-sabotage. A person driven by impatience grasps at opportunities that are not aligned, accepts less than they are worth, or quits just before their breakthrough. Patience dissolves that fear. It anchors you in the knowing that what is yours cannot be denied. It frees you from the frantic chase so that you can walk calmly, confidently, and steadily toward your wealth. There is also protection in divine timing. Sometimes delays are not denials but shields. The wealth you seek might have destroyed you if it came too soon. The opportunity you wanted might have been a trap. The door you were desperate to open might have led you away from your true path. Divine timing ensures that what is not for your highest good falls away, and that what is for you arrives at the perfect moment. Trusting this process removes bitterness and replaces it with peace. Instead of lamenting delays, you can say, I trust that this pause is purposeful. I trust that I am being guided to something greater than I can yet imagine. Patience is also the training ground for mastery. In the waiting, you are being shaped. You are learning discipline, endurance, and resilience. You are proving your faith through consistent words, thoughts, and actions. Wealth is not just about receiving money. It is about becoming the person who can handle money with wisdom and grace. Patience molds you into that person. Every day you hold your vision without evidence, your spiritual muscles grow stronger. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you deepen your alignment. When your wealth finally arrives, it finds you prepared, mature, and grounded enough to sustain it. Think of how many fortunes have been lost because they arrived too soon. Lottery winners who squander millions, entrepreneurs who collapse under the weight of success, individuals who rise quickly but fall just as quickly because they lack the foundation. Divine timing prevents that collapse. It ensures your foundation is secure before the structure of wealth is built upon it. Patience is the acceptance of this wisdom. It says, I would rather wait and keep what I receive than rush and lose it all. A faith and patience are inseparable. Faith believes it is already done. Patience waits calmly for the evidence to appear. Without patience, faith collapses into doubt at the first delay. Without faith, patience becomes resignation or apathy. Together, they create an unstoppable force. Faith provides the vision. Patience provides the endurance. Faith calls the wealth into being. Patience holds the vibration until it manifests. When you live in this balance, wealth comes not as a struggle, but as a natural unfolding. Even nature affirms this truth. The sun rises at its appointed time, the tides move according to their rhythm, the seasons change in perfect order. There is no haste, no delay, only divine timing. To demand that spring arrive in winter is futile. But to trust that spring is inevitable and to prepare for it patiently is wisdom. Likewise, your wealth has its season. If you are in winter, use it to prepare, to strengthen your roots, to plant seeds. When spring comes, the harvest will be abundant because you trusted the timing instead of resenting it. Patience also keeps you in joy. When you are impatient, you live in frustration, always focused on what you lack. But when you practice patience, you live in peace, enjoying the journey as much as the destination. You celebrate small progress. You give thanks for daily provision. You find contentment in the present moment while still expecting greater things. That joy multiplies blessings because it keeps you aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. Wealth grows more easily in a joyful heart than in an anxious one. To embrace divine timing and patience is to surrender control without surrendering desire. You still hold your vision, still take inspired action, still speak your affirmations, but you release the desperate need for it to happen on your schedule. You trust the higher order that sees beyond what you can see. You know that if it is delayed, it is for your good. You know that when it comes, it will be better than you imagined. This surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, for it places you in harmony with the flow of the universe. When you live this way, your relationship with wealth changes completely. You stop chasing it frantically and begin attracting it naturally. You stop doubting every delay and begin trusting every unfolding. You stop fearing missed opportunities and begin realizing that what is meant for you will always arrive. Patience frees you from the torment of time and places you in the eternal now, where abundance already exists. Divine timing assures you that the visible manifestation is on its way, and patience allows you to wait with peace and expectancy until it arrives. Wealth built on divine timing and patience is wealth that lasts. It is not fragile or fleeting. It is steady and secure. It comes at the moment when you are ready to receive it fully and wisely, and it stays because you have become the person who can sustain it. This is the promise of divine law. When you align with timing and practice patience, what you desire cannot be withheld. It will come, and it will come in its perfect season. Until then, wait in gratitude, walk in faith, and trust the process, for everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Scarcity is one of the greatest prisons of the human mind, and it keeps countless people from ever experiencing the wealth and prosperity that is their birthright. Scarcity is not about what is in your wallet, your bank account, or your circumstances. It is about the beliefs you hold deep within your consciousness. It is the quiet voice that whispers, "There's never enough. I can't afford it. Wealth is for others, not for me. What if I lose everything?" These thoughts create a vibration of lack, and because life reflects back what you believe, scarcity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The mind that clings to scarcity closes every door before it can open, sees walls instead of opportunities, and repels abundance by expecting it to vanish. To step into true wealth, you must replace those scarcity beliefs with faith in abundance. Faith is the inner knowing that the universe is unlimited, that supply is infinite, and that you are connected to the source of all prosperity. Faith says, "I am supported, I am guided, and what I need will always come to me at the right time." Scarcity contracts, faith expands. Scarcity hoards, faith shares. Scarcity doubts, faith trusts. As long as scarcity runs the show, your external life will mirror its limits. But when faith in abundance takes root, your outer world begins to transform in astonishing ways, because the energy you project invites wealth to flow freely. Consider how scarcity beliefs often disguise themselves as logic or practicality. People say, "I have to hold on to every penny because I don't know if more will come." They cling tightly, thinking they are being responsible, but in reality, they are affirming that supply is limited. The very act of gripping money too tightly signals fear, and fear blocks flow. On the other hand, someone rooted in abundance faith says, "I know more is always on the way. I can use money, circulate money, and bless others with money because it always replenishes." This mindset opens the channel wider, and money comes more easily. Wealth is never about luck or chance. It is about consciousness. and consciousness built on abundance, faith will always find new channels of supply. Replacing scarcity with faith is not about ignoring your reality. It is about transforming it by changing the beliefs that created it in the first place. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," you are declaring scarcity. Every time you say, "Money is hard to make," you are affirming limitation. Words are seeds, and the more you speak scarcity, the more lack you will harvest. Faith in abundance speaks differently. It says, "There is more than enough for everyone. My wealth is already on its way. I am aligned